Ever feel swept away by life's chaos? What if I told you there's a mindset rooted in ancient wisdom that helps you stay grounded, master your emotions, and face every challenge with calm confidence? Welcome to the power of Stoic thinking. 1. Master your reactions. Opening anecdote. Picture this. You're stuck in the 7:45 a.m. subway crush, your headphones blasting your favorite podcast. Suddenly, a passenger elbows you for space. Your heart races, anger surges. In that split second, 2 choices appear. Lash out in frustration or pause and breathe. Meet Sarah, a marketing associate who once let that elbow derail her entire morning. One day, she tried something different. Instead of firing back, she took a deep breath, noticed her racing thoughts, and whispered, "It's okay." That single pause diffused her anger, letting her arrive at work calm, focused, and ready to lead her team without carrying resentment. The theory of the pause Stoicism hinges on this simple but powerful concept: the space between stimulus and response. Ancient Stoic teachers like Epictetus described it as our capacity for assent, the power to withhold approval of every automatic impulse. Modern neuroscience supports this. Studies show that pausing engages the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive center responsible for reasoning and self-control, rather than the amygdala's fight-or-flight reaction. In practice, that pause might be a 3-second count, just enough time to notice the sensation of tension in your shoulders or the tightness in your chest. Try this exercise the next time you feel irritable. Label the emotions silently: anger, anxiety, or impatience. Name it, feel it, then ask, what's the rational choice here? This mental nudge shifts your brain from pure reaction to thoughtful action. Over the weeks, the pause becomes a habit. Suddenly, you're not at the mercy of every insult or inconvenience. You're the director calling the shots. Emotions as actors. Imagine your emotions as actors auditioning for roles on your mental stage. Anger strides forward with a booming voice. Fear cowers in the wings. As the director, your job is clear. Decide which emotion deserves the spotlight. You might grant anxiety a line when you're preparing for a presentation, but you won't let it hijack your performance. By personifying emotions this way, you create psychological distance. Instead of, "I am angry," you say, "Anger is here." That small shift in language reduces the intensity of the feeling, allowing you to guide your reactions with intention. Virtue, as true North Stoics believe, the highest good is virtue, living by reason and moral excellence. They identified 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, prudent judgment, justice, fair treatment, courage, brave action, and temperance, self-restraint. These aren't lofty philosophical buzzwords, they're practical guides. Facing a tough conversation at work, wisdom helps you choose words carefully. Azra, a software engineer, used the virtue of justice to mediate a team conflict. She listened impartially, acknowledged each side's concerns, and proposed a fair solution. By aligning actions with these virtues, you build a rock-solid moral compass that points you toward constructive choices, regardless of external pressures. Marcus Aurelius case study. Marcus Aurelius isn't just a name in dusty textbooks. He was an emperor confronting plague, war, and political betrayal. Yet his private journal, Meditations, reveals a man relentlessly disciplined in mastering his own mind. In one entry, he reminds himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When his legations faltered, he didn't curse the setback. He reframed it as a chance to exercise patience and ingenuity. Take his nightly reflections as a template. Each evening, he reviewed his day, where he acted with integrity, where he let emotion cloud his judgment, and how he could improve tomorrow. That practice transformed obstacles into training grounds for resilience. 2. Resilience as growth. Defining resilience. Resilience isn't merely about returning to your baseline after hardship. It's about evolving through the process. Think of bamboo in a storm. It bends without breaking, its flexibility enabling it to flourish where rigid trees might snap. Psychologists call this post-traumatic growth, where adversity becomes the catalyst for personal transformation. Whereas conventional recovery focuses on restoring what was lost, growth-oriented resilience invites you to ask, how can this challenge shape me into a wiser, stronger version of myself? Imagine a runner facing a sudden injury. Instead of wallowing in frustration, they pivot to cross-training, building upper body strength, exploring yoga, and refining their mental visualization skills. When they return to running, they don't just pick up where they left off. They run smarter, with greater body awareness and mental toughness. That's bouncing forward. Journal ritual. A nightly journaling practice is your personal resilience workshop. Here's a step-by-step guide to transform your reflections into growth. Set the scene. Find a quiet spot before bed. Drape a soft lamp light over your journal and take 3 deep breaths to center yourself. Prompt 1. Triumphs and trials. List 3 moments from the day that went well and 3 that challenged you. Be concrete. Rather than "work was hard," write "felt overwhelmed during the budget presentation." Prompt 2. Emotional check-in. Rate each challenge on a scale of 1 to 10 for emotional intensity. Note the physical sensations: tight chest, racing thoughts, clenched jaw. This fosters mind-body awareness. Prompt 3. Lesson and leverage. For every challenge, ask, "What did this teach me? And how can I use this lesson tomorrow?" If you fumble during the presentation, maybe you need to rehearse out loud or pause to breathe between slides. Prompt 4. Gratitude angle in. By listing one thing you're grateful for, no matter how small. Gratitude counterbalances negativity and primes your brain for positivity. Take Emily, a project manager who struggled under tight deadlines. After a month of nightly journaling, she noticed a pattern. Her frustration peaked when she skipped her morning run. By prioritizing that 30-minute jog, she arrived at work calmer and more focused, ultimately boosting her team's productivity. Values clarification. Clear values are the compass that guides you through turbulent seas. Start with a list of 10 core principles: honesty, generosity, perseverance, etc. Then rank them in order of personal significance. Narrow to your top 3. These become your non-negotiables under stress. Next, create if-then statements. For instance, if I feel overwhelmed at work, then I will pause and review my commitment to perseverance by reciting a personal mantra. Or, if I'm tempted to skip a tough conversation, then I will remind myself that justice requires honest discourse. Ashley, a nurse on a COVID-19 unit, found her values shaken by relentless pressure. By pinpointing compassion, courage, and balance, she set boundaries, taking short mindfulness breaks between patients and lending an empathetic ear without absorbing every trauma. This values-based approach safeguarded her mental health while enabling her to serve effectively. Stoic exercises. Stoicism offers practical drills to flex your resilience muscle. Negative visualization. Spend 5 minutes imagining losing something you cherish, a job, a relationship, or good health. This isn't pessimism, it's gratitude in disguise. By mentally confronting loss, you reduce its shock and appreciate what you have. Voluntary discomfort. Take a cold shower, fast for a day, or sleep on the floor. These controlled hardships train you to endure discomfort with dignity, making unexpected challenges feel more manageable. Amor fati, love of fate. Daily affirmations acknowledging that every event, pleasant or painful, serves your growth. Repeat, I embrace whatever life brings. Over time, resistance to adversity dissolves. Practical weekend challenge. Choose one discomfort exercise, maybe an early morning hike before sunrise. Document your sensations in your journal. Notice how pushing through initial reluctance yields pride, calm, and a fresh perspective. Success stories. Real-world examples inspire us to believe growth through adversity is possible. Viktor Frankl survived Nazi concentration camps by finding meaning in suffering. His logotherapy principles underscore that even in the worst conditions, we can choose our attitude. Malala Yousafzai. After surviving an assassination attempt, she emerged as a global advocate for girls' education, proving resilience can birth purpose. Tyler, the Creator. Once bullied and struggling with depression, he channeled adversity into creative fuel, producing chart-topping music and thriving as a multi-hyphenate artist. These stories remind us that growth isn't hypothetical. History and contemporary life brim with individuals who've transformed pain into power. If they can, so can you. 3. Setting and smashing goals. Journey versus sprint. Personal growth is a marathon, not a 100-meter dash. Imagine you're training for a triathlon. You wouldn't leap from couch to 50-mile bike rides overnight. You'd build endurance gradually, mixing swimming, cycling, and running at appropriate intensities. The same principle applies to self-improvement. Small, consistent efforts compound over time. When you understand progress is a process, you relieve yourself of the pressure to see overnight transformations. Instead, you celebrate micro wins, stay motivated through plateaus, and steadily advance toward your overarching goals. Micro goals technique. Breaking down big ambitions into bite-sized tasks transforms the intangible into the achievable. Let's say your dream is to write a novel. Instead of staring at a blank page and feeling overwhelmed, set a daily word count target of 300 words. Better yet, link it to an existing habit. After my morning coffee, I'll write 300 words. This cue action routine leverages your brain's pattern recognition to cement a new writing habit. Here's a 4-step micro goals framework. 1. Define the big picture. Identify your ultimate objective, e.g., publish a 60,000-word novel. 2. Chunk it down. Divide into monthly milestones, e.g., finish 15,000 words per quarter. 3. Daily triggers. Attach mini tasks to routines, e.g., pen 300 words after breakfast. 4. Track and adjust. Use a simple spreadsheet or habit tracking app to record daily progress. If you miss a day, reflect on the obstacle and adjust, maybe write in the evening instead. Research on goal pursuit confirms this approach. Granular targets boost commitment and reduce procrastination by making progress visible and less daunting. Daily Atomic Habits Routine. James Clear's Atomic Habits framework aligns perfectly with the Stoic discipline. He advocates 4 laws to build lasting habits. Make it obvious. Place your habit cue in plain sight. If you want to read more, keep a book next to your bed instead of your phone. Make it attractive. Pair your new habit with a reward. Read a chapter only after brewing a cup of your favorite tea. Make it easy. Reduce friction. If running motivates you, lay out your workout clothes the night before. Make it satisfying. Track your wins visually. Mark an X on your calendar each day you complete your habit. Combine these with a Stoic mindset. After completing your habit, pause and reflect. I acted with discipline today. This moment of self-acknowledgement reinforces both the habit and your commitment to virtue. Reflective debrief. At the end of each week, schedule a 20-minute debrief. Here's your template. Win review. What went well? Which micro goals did you hit? Celebrate specifics. I wrote 1,500 words by Thursday. Obstacle audit. What blocked your progress? Distractions, fatigue, unclear objectives. Name them without judgment. Course correction. How can you tweak your plan? If morning writing fails, consider an evening slot. If tasks still feel big, split them further. Virtue alignment. Which Stoic virtue did you exercise? Maybe courage to tackle a thorny chapter, or temperance to skip TV in favor of writing. Regular debriefs transform mistakes into insights, ensuring you adapt and refine your process rather than repeating ineffective patterns. Creative learning innovation often emerges at the intersection of disciplines. If you're pursuing a goal, broaden your learning sources, books and podcasts. Alternate between technical guides and inspiring biographies. Workshops and webinars. Engage live, ask questions, and network with peers. Experimentation. Apply a new technique each month, maybe mind mapping your plot or using speech to text for brainstorming. Consider Maya, a graphic designer who decided to learn coding. She dedicated 1 hour per day to online tutorials and side projects, experimenting with interactive web designs. Although coding wasn't her end goal, the process unlocked fresh creative angles for her design work. By treating every new skill as a laboratory experiment, you cultivate intellectual curiosity and hone the Stoic virtue of wisdom. When you view learning as a playful exploration rather than a chore, you'll stay engaged, build diverse competencies, and adapt more fluidly to whatever challenges arise. 4. The power of self-education, lifelong learning mindset. The moment you decide that learning doesn't end with graduation is when growth truly accelerates. Consider knowledge as a garden. If you stop planting seeds, weeds of stagnation will take over. Cultivating a lifelong learning mindset means viewing every situation as an opportunity to pick up a new skill or insight. For instance, during your daily commute, you might tune into a podcast on behavioral psychology instead of replaying chart-topping hits. Or during lunch breaks, skim articles on emerging industry trends rather than scrolling social media. This consistent curiosity keeps your brain agile, equips you to anticipate change, and builds confidence as you accumulate unexpected expertise. Embrace a beginner's mind, a Zen concept where you approach familiar subjects as though you're seeing them for the first time. That mindset reveals overlooked nuances, whether you're revisiting a favorite novel or relearning basic coding principles. When you release ego and accept you don't know everything, you open yourself to insights that seasoned experts often miss. Building networks. Learning thrives in the community. Imagine your network as a library. Each person holds a unique section of knowledge. By forging genuine connections, you gain access to their expertise. Start by attending local meetups or online forums tied to your interests. When meeting someone new, think beyond the elevator pitch. Ask them about the challenges they're tackling and lessons they've gleaned. Offer your own insights generously. Networking is a reciprocal exchange. Set a simple goal. Reach out to one new person per week for a virtual coffee chat or informational interview. Keep these conversations focused on learning. Inquire about their favorite books, pivotal career moments, or war stories that shape their resilience. Over time, these relationships become mentorship platforms, accountability partners, and sources of unexpected opportunities. Remember, a strong network isn't built on quantity, but on quality and authenticity. Adaptability skills. In a world where industries pivot overnight, your ability to adapt is as valuable as any technical skill. Adaptability involves recognizing shifting landscapes, reframing obstacles as experiments, and adjusting strategies quickly. To sharpen this skill, practice scenario planning. Envision 2 or 3 plausible futures for your field. Digital transformation accelerating, regulation tightening, or remote work mainstreaming, and list skills that would thrive in each scenario. Next, adopt a fast failure approach to minor projects. If you're learning data visualization, build a small dashboard on a weekend. If the result falls short, analyze where it stumbled, improve your approach, and iterate. This cycle of quick experimentation builds resilience and reduces fear of the unknown. Finally, cultivate cognitive flexibility by exposing yourself to diverse perspectives. Read widely: economics, philosophy, design. Engage people outside your usual circles. Each new viewpoint is a mental stretch, making you more agile when real-world change demands it. Online communities and courses. The digital age offers a buffet of learning platforms: MOOCs, niche forums, Discord channels, and Slack workspaces. But effective self-education isn't about enrolling in every course. It's about strategic selection and active participation. Choosing courses. Before you sign up, define clear learning objectives. If you want to master public speaking, seek courses with peer feedback and live practice sessions rather than passive video lectures. Read syllabi, check reviews, and ensure the curriculum aligns with your goals. Active participation. Treat online learning like a lab, not a lecture hall. Take comprehensive notes, pause frequently to quiz yourself, and immediately apply concepts through mini projects. For example, in a digital marketing course, draft sample campaigns for imaginary products. Share your projects in course forums to gain critiques. Community engagement. Join subject-specific groups on platforms like LinkedIn or Reddit. Contribute by answering questions, sharing useful resources, and fostering discussions. This interaction deepens understanding and builds your reputation as a knowledgeable peer. Additionally, many online communities host virtual workshops and study groups. Participating in these events connects theory to practice. Consider Dev Patel, a graphic designer who joined an online UX design cohort. Through weekly group critiques, he refined his mockups, learned to accept constructive feedback, and landed freelance UX gigs within months. His secret wasn't just consuming content, but actively engaging and delivering value to the community. Measuring progress. What gets measured gets managed. Without tracking, self-education can drift off course. Use a simple spreadsheet to log key metrics: hours spent learning, modules completed, skills practiced, and feedback received. Visualize your progress. Plot weekly hours on a chart to identify peaks and valleys. If you notice dips, investigate. Did you choose a course that lost your interest? Are external commitments crowding out study time? Set periodic check-ins, monthly and quarterly, to review your learning dashboard. Ask, which skills have advanced? Where did I struggle? What adjustments will amplify my growth? Combine this data-driven review with Stoic reflection. Acknowledge successes without arrogance and failures without self-shame. Finally, celebrate milestones. Complete a capstone project, publish an article, or teach a mini workshop. Publicly sharing achievements not only solidifies your learning, but also motivates you to keep investing in your intellectual garden. 5. Building meaningful connections. Two-way street connections aren't transactions, they're conversations. Imagine networking as a dance. If you lead without following, the rhythm collapses. Strong relationships depend on mutual exchange, sharing insights, listening to needs, and offering support. Start by asking open-ended questions. What challenges are you tackling right now? Or what inspired you to pursue this project? Then listen actively. Nod, summarize what you've heard, and offer genuine feedback or resources. When you give value first, introducing a helpful contact, sharing a relevant article, or simply expressing appreciation, you set the foundation for trust. Over time, these acts of generosity return to you in unexpected ways. Referrals, collaborations, or fresh insights that reshape your worldview. Authenticity shines brighter than any polished elevator pitch. People can sense when you're genuine versus when you're rehearsed. Authentic presence means showing up as your full self, strengths, quirks, and all. Picture a conference coffee break. Instead of rattling off your resume, you share a personal anecdote, a lesson learned from a failed side hustle, or a passion project that lights you up. That vulnerability invites others to open up too. It transforms small talk into meaningful dialogue. To cultivate authenticity, practice mindful breathing before interactions to ground yourself, maintain eye contact, and align your body language with your words. When you speak from personal experience and discuss both wins and lessons learned, you foster deeper connections that last beyond a handshake. Patience and persistence. Meaningful relationships don't bloom overnight. They're cultivated over time. Think of friendships as gardens. They need tending, regular check-ins, thoughtful gestures, and mutual interest. Schedule brief catch-ups, coffee dates, quick phone calls, or a simple text. Celebrate milestones, congratulate colleagues on achievements, send a note on birthdays, or share articles aligned with their interests. If initial outreach goes unanswered, don't take it personally. Respect their bandwidth, but try again later with a concise, context-rich message. Persistence paired with patience signals genuine care without crossing boundaries. Consider Jake, a freelance writer who nurtured a relationship with an editor he admired. He started by commenting meaningfully on her blog posts and then shared his own articles for feedback. When she was busy, she didn't reply immediately, but Jake sent a concise follow-up 6 weeks later, referencing their earlier conversation. That second touch point led to a mentoring call and then a collaboration on a high-profile piece. Jake's story illustrates that timing, consistency, and considerate persistence unlock doors. Empathy exercises. Empathy is the superpower of strong relationships. It's more than observing feelings, it's understanding them. Practice this simple exercise. After a conversation, jot down 3 observations about the other person's emotional state. Did they light up when discussing a recent project? Did their tone tighten when talking about a challenge? Next, imagine their perspective. If I were in their shoes, what pressures or hopes might I feel? This mental simulation builds emotional intelligence. Another drill, the mirroring technique. In a one-on-one chat, subtly match the other person's posture, tone, and pace. If they lean forward, you lean forward. If they speak softly, lower your voice slightly. Mirroring fosters rapport by signaling subconscious alignment. Use it sparingly and sincerely. Overdoing it feels manipulative. Finally, commit to 1 empathy walk per week. Instead of solving problems immediately, spend 5 minutes asking, "How does this feel for you?" Resist the urge to offer advice. Your role is to hold space, validate emotions, and ask gentle follow-up questions. Over time, these practices deepen your capacity for compassion and strengthen the bonds you build. Networking versus relationship building. Think of networking as the broad net you cast at an event. Relationship building is the focused effort you invest afterward. At conferences, aim to meet a handful of people deeply, rather than collecting business cards like trophies. After meeting someone, send a personalized follow-up, reference a detail from your conversation, suggest a resource, or propose a next step. A virtual coffee chat or an article swap. Track your connections in a simple CRM or spreadsheet. Name, the context of the meeting, key interests, and follow-up dates. Set reminders. Check in every 3 months with a note or useful link. This systematic approach ensures you nurture relationships rather than letting them fade. Case study, Priya, a UX researcher, attended a design summit and met an industry leader during a breakout session. Instead of sending a generic LinkedIn request, she emailed, "I appreciated your insight on inclusive design during the session. Your example about color contrast inspired me to audit our app's accessibility. I'd love to hear more about your process." This thoughtful outreach sparked a mentorship that evolved into a published co-authored article. By distinguishing between expansive networking and intentional relationship building, you transform fleeting encounters into lasting alliances. Prioritize depth over breadth, reciprocity over self-interest, and consistency over one-off outreach. That's how you weave a resilient support system that energizes your personal and professional growth. 6. Embracing authenticity and diversity. Symphony metaphor. True authenticity lies in celebrating diversity. Think of humanity as an orchestra. Each of us plays a unique instrument: violin, flute, percussion, adding distinct tones and textures. A symphony's richness emerges not from solo performances, but from harmonious collaboration. In your personal and professional life, this means honoring different backgrounds, perspectives, and communication styles. Instead of asking, "Why is their approach different?" frame it as, "What unique insight are they bringing to our shared composition?" When you actively listen to those distinctive notes, you'll find creative solutions and build deeper rapport. Stoicism teaches that obstacles are opportunities in disguise. Cultural or ideological differences can feel like barriers, but they're actually bridges to understanding. When faced with divergent opinions, pause and apply the Stoic dichotomy of control. You can't change someone's beliefs, but you can control your response. Approach disagreements as curiosity fuel. Ask open questions like, "Can you help me understand how you arrived at that perspective?" This stance disarms defensiveness and invites genuine exchange. Over time, differences become pathways to innovation as contrasting ideas merge into novel approaches. Cultural competence. Developing cultural competence means more than avoiding faux pas. It's about proactive learning. Dedicate time each month to explore a culture different from your own. Read literature, watch documentaries, attend cultural festivals, or take a cooking class. For example, learning the basics of Japanese nashi hospitality can enhance your client interactions, turning routine meetings into memorable experiences by anticipating unspoken needs. Reflect on how cultural values, individualism versus collectivism, direct versus indirect communication, impact collaboration styles. This awareness not only prevents misunderstandings, but also signals respect, fostering trust and inclusion. Conflict as growth. Conflict often signals that boundaries or expectations aren't aligned. Instead of shying away, reframe conflict as a diagnostic tool. Implement the Stoic practice of the view from above. Mentally zoom out to see the bigger picture, what's truly at stake. Then apply the principle of oikeiosis, a sense of belonging. Remind yourself that both parties share a common goal, even if they differ on methods. Use active listening to restate the other person's viewpoint before presenting your own. This approach cools tempers and uncovers root issues. After resolution, conduct a brief debrief. What systemic adjustment can prevent similar conflicts? Turning disputes into organizational improvements cements their positive value. Self-awareness practices. Authentic engagement demands self-knowledge. Start each day with a quick Stoic reflection. What assumptions am I bringing into today's interactions? Maybe you assume a teammate is unhelpful because they missed deadlines, but perhaps they're overwhelmed. Catching these biases early prevents misjudgments. Another practice, end your day by journaling one interaction that felt off. Ask, what role did my mindset play? How could I have shown more openness? Over time, you'll spot patterns, triggers that cloud your perception, and strengths that enrich your connections. Pair this with mindfulness meditation to hone present moment awareness. When you're fully present, you catch social cues you'd otherwise miss, and your responses align more closely with your highest values. 7. Wise communication and privacy. Value of words. Words shape realities. Think of your language as a sculptor's chisel, carving meaning and sculpting trust. A careless comment can crack that trust. A well-chosen phrase can solidify it. The Stoics advise speaking only when you add value. Before speaking, run a quick mental checklist. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If your comment fails any of these, reconsider. For example, instead of pointing out someone's mistake bluntly, frame feedback constructively. I noticed X. Could we try Y to make it stronger? This approach preserves dignity and invites collaboration. Silence as power. Silence isn't emptiness, it's a strategic pause. In dialogue, silence allows others to process your words and encourages them to speak up. When you hold your tongue, you avoid reactive remarks and demonstrate self-mastery. Practice the 3-breath rule. After someone finishes speaking, inhale and exhale 3 times before responding. This technique cools emotional reactivity and ensures your reply is measured. In negotiations, a well-timed pause can be more persuasive than any argument. People often fill silence with concessions or clarifications. Journaling for clarity. Journaling sharpens your communication by helping you sift through tangled thoughts. Before an important conversation, be it a performance review or a difficult personal talk, draft your talking points in your journal. Write freely, then refine. Identify your main message, supporting examples, and desired outcome. This prep work prevents you from veering off topic or letting emotions derail the discussion. After the meeting, journal again. What went well? What phrases landed? Which statements could have been clearer? Over time, these reflections refine your verbal precision and boost confidence. Digital boundaries. In today's hyper-connected world, privacy is under siege. Stoicism teaches control over what you can, your digital footprint. Conduct a privacy audit monthly. Review which apps access your data, revoke unnecessary permissions, and update passwords. Be mindful of sharing location check-ins or sensitive personal details on social media. When posting, ask yourself, will I still be comfortable with this visible in 5 years? If not, refrain. Establish boundaries by setting specific offline hours each day. No emails, no notifications. This practice safeguards mental space and signals respect for personal time, fostering healthier relationships both online and off. Real-world examples. Consider Elena, a startup founder who navigated investor pitches with stoic restraint. Instead of oversharing every company metric, she curated a concise presentation that highlighted key traction points and framed challenges as opportunities. Her disciplined communication attracted the right investors and set clear expectations. Or take Jamal, who faced a difficult conversation with a roommate over household chores. He used the 3-breath rule to prevent reactive outbursts, then opened with, I value our living situation, and I'd like us to find a fair system for chores. His calm, structured approach turned a recurring conflict into a collaborative solution. These stories illustrate that measured speech and boundary setting aren't theoretical. They're practical tools you can apply today. 8. Leadership with humility. Confidence versus humility. True leadership marries self-assuredness with modesty. Confidence empowers decisive action. Humility invites collaboration and continuous learning. Picture 2 managers. One dominates meetings, dismissing input. The other solicits diverse viewpoints and credits team contributions. Which inspires loyalty? The latter. Embrace a growth mindset. View your leadership role not as a display of prowess, but as an opportunity to elevate others. When you approach challenges confidently, yet admit what you don't know, you cultivate credibility and encourage your team to bring their best. Active listening leadership begins with listening. Active listening signals respect and uncovers insights hidden beneath surface requests. In practice, lean forward, maintain eye contact, and paraphrase. What I'm hearing is that the timeline is tight. Let me summarize your concerns. Then pause, allowing the speaker to confirm or clarify. This technique reduces miscommunication and builds psychological safety, empowering team members to voice candid feedback and innovative ideas. Feedback culture. Constructive feedback fuels growth. Establish regular feedback loops, one-on-ones, peer reviews, and team retrospectives. When giving feedback, follow the SBI model, situation, behavior, impact. Describe the specific situation, observed behavior, and its impact. Example, during yesterday's call situation, you interrupted colleagues multiple times, behavior, which made it hard for others to share ideas, impact. Then invite dialogue. How can we ensure everyone's voice is heard next time? This structured approach reduces defensiveness and frames feedback as a joint problem-solving exercise. Privacy protection, honoring confidentiality cements trust. Leaders often receive sensitive personal or strategic information. Handle these with care. Store documents securely, limit distribution, and discuss confidential matters in private settings. For example, when discussing personnel issues, choose a quiet office rather than a public corridor. Explicitly state confidentiality expectations. This conversation stays between us. Demonstrating respect for privacy reassures team members that their vulnerability won't be exploited. Mistake, ownership. Owning errors models accountability. When things go awry, avoid blame shifting. Acknowledge your role. I misjudged the project scope, and I apologize for the extra workload. Then outline corrective steps and lessons learned, cementing a culture where admitting mistakes isn't penalized but celebrated as a learning milestone. This transparency fosters psychological safety, driving innovation and resilience. 9. Solution-oriented mindsets. Complaint versus solution. Shifting from complaint to solution is a hallmark of strategic thinkers. Complaining highlights problems, proposing solutions propels progress. Next time you catch yourself griping, the process is too slow, challenge yourself. What change would speed it up? Document your proposed fixes and share them in the next meeting. This proactive stance positions you as a problem solver, not a bystander. Problem framing. How you define a problem shapes the solution. Use the 5 whys technique. Ask why 5 times to peel back layers of symptoms and reveal root causes. If customer churn is high, ask why, because service calls aren't resolved quickly. Why? Staff training is inconsistent. Why? And so on. By reframing the issue, you avoid band-aid fixes and implement durable solutions. Opportunity spotting. Opportunities often hide within challenges. When budgets shrink, instead of panicking, ask, how can we achieve more with less? This mindset drives creative resource allocation, repurposing existing tools, cross-training personnel, or automating routine tasks. Consider Slack during the pandemic. Limited don't just see constraints, they innovated features like huddles and clips, turning adversity into growth. Collaborative brainstorms harness collective intelligence through structured ideation sessions. Encourage every voice. Use silent brainstorming or round-robin shares to prevent dominant personalities from monopolizing. Frame prompts with possibility. If we had no resource limits, what would we try? Then refine ideas through voting or matrix analysis, impact versus effort. This method democratizes creativity and yields actionable roadmaps. Case studies. Learn from organizations that turn crises into triumphs. Netflix pivoted from DVD rentals to streaming when market trends shifted, leveraging existing tech and user data. Zoom scaled rapidly under unprecedented demand by focusing on reliability and user experience, outpacing competitors. Patagonia redirected marketing budgets to support environmental causes during economic downturns, deepening customer loyalty. Analyzing these examples reveals common threads: agility, customer centricity, and a bias toward action. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more great content.